welcome back to my classroom. Today's topic is quadratic equations and quadratic functions. So start from quadratic equation. How can we solve quadratic equation? There are three ways. Usually we use factoring and completing the square and quadratic formula. I can explain only two things, factoring and quadratic formula. Okay, what is quadratic equation? Quadratic equation form is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0 form. A, B, C are real numbers and A is not 0. This is a really basic form of quadratic equation. So how can you use factoring? Because A times B is 0, then you can say A is 0 or B is 0. So if you use factoring, each factor is 0, gonna be solution of this quadratic equation. For example, x squared minus 2x minus 8 is equal to 0. You can factor this, right? You can factor. How? X squared is x times x. Negative 8 is 2 times 4. And then this is negative. This is positive. This is x squared. And then negative 4x plus 2x, which is negative 2x. And then negative 8. So each factor can be 0. So x plus 2 is 0, or x minus 4 equals 0. From the first factor, you can find x equals negative 2. And then from the second factor, you can find x equals 4. So what are solutions of this equation? Negative 2 and 4. It's very easy examples, right? But some factoring is harder than this. Let me give you one more example. What about a little harder one? 2x squared minus 6 minus x equal to 0. How can you factor this? 2x squared means 2x times x, right? Product of these two numbers are going to be negative 6, so maybe 3 and 2. So 3 times 2. This is minus, this is plus, because 2x squared negative 4x plus 3x, which is negative x, negative 6. So what is the answer? 2x plus 3 can be 0, or x minus 2 can be 0. Each factor is 0. From this factor, first factor x equals negative 3 over 2. From the second factor, x equals 2. So we found two solutions of this quadratic equation, which is x equals negative 3 over 2 and x equals 2 by using factoring. It is very easy, right? So first way to solve a quadratic equation is using what? Factoring. Okay, what is the next one? You can use sometimes quadratic formula. Why? Because some given equation is not factorable. So what is the quadratic formula? And then ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. And then x is negative b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, I'll give you two examples again for quadratic formula. First one is very easy one, like 2x squared minus 3x minus 2 for maybe 3. It is not factorable, right? It is not factorable. So you can use a quadratic formula. X equals negative b. What is a? What is b? What is c? A is 2. B is negative 3. C is negative 3. So x equals negative b, negative 3, plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Negative 3 will be positive 3 plus minus square root of negative 3 whole thing squared is 9. Okay, this part gonna be 9, and then this part gonna be 20, negative 24. Okay, so 9 minus negative 24 gonna be positive 33. This is negative, positive, right? All over 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, we got two answers, right? One solution is 3 plus square root 33 over 4. The other one 3 minus radical 33 over 4. It is a very simple quadratic formula. I give you another example. X squared minus 4x minus 2 equal to 0. By the formula, x equals negative b negative 4 plus minus square root of b squared negative 4 whole things square minus 4 times 8 times c all over 2a. So negative positive 4 plus minus square root of this part is 16 minus negative 8. So that's going to be 24 over 2. But it's not done yet because it is not simple list form. So you keep doing. How? 24 is what? 4 times 6. And then 4 is 2 squared. So any squared number inside the radical can go outside. So it's a plus minus 2 can go outside. And 6 stay inside still. Over 2. And then 4, 2, 2. These three numbers altogether cancel out by 2. 2 times 1. 2 times 2. 2 times 1. So what is your final answer? 2 plus minus square root of 6. This is the final answer. So I have to say something important. Quadratic formula can be used when the given quadratic equation is not factorable. But there are two different types of equation can be given for you. Number one, okay, is like example 1, if you use a quadratic formula, that is just the answers. You don't have to simplify more, just this is answers, right? But for example 2, after you found the answer using quadratic formula, you have to simplify that. That's not simple list form. So that's different. Example 1 has odd number of b. If b is odd number, you can directly find answers usually. But if b is even number like negative 4, positive 6, if b is even number, after you find the answers, you have to keep doing a little more to simplify it to make a simple list form of your answers. Be careful that when b is even number, okay, your answer must be simplified. This is quadratic formula. We call that discriminant, which is b squared minus 4ac. This part is inside the radical, right? So we call this b squared minus 4ac discriminant, and then we use a large D for that. Large D is what? B squared minus 4AC. Okay, what is the name of this part? Discriminant. Why that part is very important? Because depends on value of D, you can have different number of solutions. So if D is greater than 0, like 2, 3, 5, 100, they're going to have positive number inside the radical, so it has plus radical that number and minus radical that number. Yeah, so we have two different real numbers, right? So if this positive number, one solution negative b plus root large D over 2a, the other one negative b minus square root large D over 2a. So it has two different real solutions. But the discriminant d is 0, negative b plus or minus 0. That 0 has no value. So b plus or minus 0 is just negative b. So it has only one real solution. Only one real solution. What if d is less than 0? That number is going to be imaginary number, right? Like negative b plus minus square root negative 5, that is root 5i. So it has no real solution. It has only two imaginary solutions. That's why that part is very important. To know how many solutions given quadratic equation given, and then what kind of solutions it has. Just check discriminant. B squared minus 4ac. If that is bigger than 0, two real solution. Equal to 0, only one real solution. Less than 0, no solution. And then we have to understand the relation between quadratic equation and quadratic function. That's the next part. Quadratic equation is ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0, right? This is quadratic equation. Quadratic function is y equals, right? Y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. It's a general form of quadratic function. What is the difference? Quadratic equation is equal to 0, but quadratic function's form is y equals. So you have to understand difference and common things of these two things. Number one, we find the x value, right? We call that x value to make a given equation become true. Solutions, right? So we find the solution. Solution is x value or values, right? So you can find that solution using factoring or quadratic formula. We just run that, right? X equals negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Using factoring or quadratic formula. Anyway, you found the solutions, right? For example, x squared plus 3x plus 2 equal to 0. So I just factor it because it is factorable. X plus 1, x plus 2, 0. So what is the answer? What is the solution? X equals negative 1 and x equals negative 2. All right, we call these solutions or roots. In a function, some question asks you find zeros. Find 0 of this function. 0 means x value when y is 0. Okay, when the function value is 0, what is x? That's the zeros of the function. So plug in 0 for y and then find x value. That is exactly solution of the equation, right? When you plug in 0 for y, it becomes quadratic equation. So the zeros actually solutions. So what is 0 of y equals x squared plus 3x plus 2? We just found the solutions, right? There was x equals negative 1 and negative 2. We use factoring, right? These two numbers, negative 1 and 2, they are zeros of the function. One more time, solutions or roots of equation are zeros of the function. Okay, I just told you zeros is x values when the function value is 0 or y is 0. What is that definition? The definition is the definition of x-intercept. Is it? X-intercept is x value or values when y is 0. That's why these two guys, x equals 1, negative 1, x equals negative 2, these two guys x-intercept. So solutions, roots of equations are zeros of the function, and they are x-intercept of that function graph. If you draw this function graph, y equals x squared plus 3x plus 2, that function graph is x-axis and y-axis. To x-intercept should be negative 1 and negative 2. And then the function graph looks like that. Because x-intercepts of this function graph is -1 and -2. Okay, so remember that relation between equation and function. Okay, solutions of equations are zeros of the function, and the zeros of functions are x-intercept of the graph. Okay, now keep going, the relation between them. I told you in ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0 quadratic equation, if discriminant d, which is b squared minus 4ac, right? If that d is greater than 0, it has two real solution. And then if x is 0, it has only one real solution. If d is less than 0, no real solution. I told you solutions are zeros, and zeros are x-intercepts. Apply that for function y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. If the discriminant of this function is greater than 0, because this equation has two solutions, this function should have two x-intercept, because solutions are x-intercept. There are two different cases, right? Like this, or like depends on the value of a. If a is positive number, that means opens up, blah blah, and then it has two solutions because discriminant is greater than 0. What about a is less than 0? Opens down, still have two x-intercept because d is greater than 0. What if the discriminant b squared minus 4ac is equal to 0? Solution, it has only one solution. That means the graph has only one x-intercept, right? If x is positive, a is a positive number, something like that is tangent to the x-axis because of one x-intercept. What about a is less than 0? This opens down, then it has tangent to the x-axis. It has only one x-intercept. What about less than 0? D is less than 0. No solution. So a is positive, something like this. Not touch x-axis. There's no x-intercept. Or opens down if a is less than 0. So they have very important relation, right? If they have two solutions, two x-intercept, one solution means one x-intercept, no solution means no x-intercept for the graph. So check discriminants, positive, 0, or negative. And another one you have to understand to solve some quadratic function problem. The most important part of the function graph is the vertex point. Okay, how can you find the vertex point? Number one, if general form is given like ax squared plus bx plus c form, that vertex point's x coordinate is always negative b over 2a. This is one of the most important formulas you have to memorize. X equals negative b over 2a. Okay, this represents what? X coordinate of vertex. How can you find the y coordinate of vertex? After you find that x coordinate, plug in that number into original function for x and to find the y value. It's not hard at all, right? Oh, for example, y equals x squared minus 4x plus 3. Okay, where is the vertex? Find vertex x equals negative 4, negative b over 2a, which is 2. So x coordinate of vertex is 2. And then find the y coordinate of vertex. Plug in 2, 4 into the function. So 2 squared minus 4 times 2 plus 3. So it is negative 1. 4 minus 8 plus 3 is negative 1. So vertex is 2, negative 1. That's vertex. I use a negative b over 2a. So graph should be something like this. I draw the graph using all information I have. Number one, vertex is negative 2. 2, negative 1. So 2, negative 1. This is the vertex point. And then I want to find the x-intercept. I just told you x-intercept is what? 0 of the equation, 0 of the function, and solutions of equation. So factor. I'm going to factoring x minus 1, x minus 3 equal to 0. So x equals 1 and 3. So 1 and 3, those 2 points, x-intercept. And then your ax squared plus bx plus c form, the c part is always y-intercept, because y-intercept means y value when x equal to 0. If you plug in 0 for x, y is c, that's why c is always y-intercept. In this case, c is plus 3. So where is plus 3? 1, 2, 3. That is y-intercept, and you connect all these points from vertex x-intercept and y-intercept, then from vertex x-intercept. Something like this. And you can find that this line. We call that line is what? Line of symmetry. Line of symmetry, because if you fold that graph by that line, the left side or right side are perfectly congruent, right? So these days in SAT, a lot of questions ask you related to line of symmetry. What is the line of symmetry? It's x equals still negative b over 2. So x equals 2. The vertical line is line of symmetry. So for this function, because it's symmetry by that line, f of 5 should be equal to f of k. Then but k is not 5. What is k? F of 5 should be equal to f of k. Where is 5? 5 is here. That point. How many units far from the symmetry? From 2 to 5. What's the distance? How many units? 3 units far from the line of symmetry, right? So the other side, go the other side 3 units. 1, 2, 3 units. That point is going to be negative 1, right? At x equals negative 1 and x equals 5, they should have same y value because they have same distance from line of symmetry. So k should be what? Negative 1. Because that parabola graph should be symmetry about that line, x equals 2. So 5 is 3 units from 2. So find the other side of the unit point. So which point the other side have 3 units from 2? Okay, go to the left side 3 units from 2. We'll reach it where? Negative 1. So k must be negative 1. So you have to understand the symmetry. Okay, it's a lot of SAT problem ask you about the line of symmetry. Let's solve some problems from now. Chose 13 problems from College Board practice tests 1, 3, 5, and 6. Number 10. Okay, gx is ax squared plus 24. It says what? G4 is 8. So what is g over 4 equals? That means what? X equals 4. 8 times 4 squared 24. That is equal to 8. 16, a is equal to negative 16. So a is negative 1. We found a, which is negative 1. So g of x equals negative 1 times x squared plus 24, right? We just found a value. But it asks you what? G of negative 4. That means plug in negative 4 for x, which is negative 4 squared plus 24. So negative 16 plus 24 is equal to 8. A is the answer. Next problem. If ax plus 2, bx plus 7 is a 15x squared plus cx plus 4 for all values of x, that's keywords. If the equation is true for all values of x, and the quadratic equation or linear equation, that means the left side and right side should be perfectly equal to each other. For example, there is 2 linear function from m1x plus b1 that is equal to m2 x plus b2, if that is true for all values of x, that means what? m1 equals m2, and b1 equals b2. In the quadratic, same thing. If a1x squared plus b1x plus c1, that is equal to a2x squared plus b2x plus c2 for all values of x. And then a1 equals a2, b1 equals b2, and c1 should be equal to c2. So if you expand this first quadratic equation, ax times bx is what? ab x squared, and then plus 7ax plus 2bx, and then plus 14. This equation should be equal to this. It gives you a plus b is a2. ab should be equal to 15. 7a plus 2b equal to c. And then 14 is already 14. And then we have one more equation, right? A plus b should be 8. And then find the c. From this first two equation, you can find the a and b, and then plug in that value into the third equation to find the value of c. So a plus b equals 8. So what is b equals? 8 minus a. So substitute 8 minus a for b of second equation. They're going to find that a times 8 minus a is equal to 15. And then solve it. 8a minus a squared equals to 15. So this equation is going to be a squared minus 8a plus 15 equal to 0. Factoring, right? Factoring. A minus 3, a minus 5. So what is a? 3 or 5. If a is 3, b is 5. Because 3 plus 5 is 8. If a is 5, b is 3. So if a is 3 and b is 5, 7 times 3 plus 2 times 5. That is c. C gonna be 31. If a is 5, b is 3, 7 times 5, 35. 35 plus 2 times 3 is 6. So c is 41. So c is what? 31 or 41. That's the answer. Number 25. Equation above expresses the approximate height h in meters of the ball t second. So h is height, t is second. Time after it is launched vertically upward from the ground with an initial velocity 20 meters per second. That is v0. After approximately how many seconds will the ball hit the ground? Hit the ground. That means 0 height. So plug in 0 for h and find the t. Easy problem. 0 equals negative 4.9 t squared plus 25t. And then negative t outside. And then 0. So 4.9t minus 25. So what is t equals? 0 from this first part, and then from the second part, t is equal to 25 divided by 4.9. 25 divided by 4.9, which is 9. 5.1 is about 5. Two answers, but when t equals 0, it's not starting yet. It's on the ground, right? Launched vertically upward from the ground. That moment t equals z. And then hit the ground means it reaches back to the ground after 5 seconds. So 5 is the answer. Next problem. Which of the following is an equation form of the equation of the graph shown, and then that must be from which the coordinate of vertex. Key point is this: the coordinate of the vertex A, that vertex A, that coordinate. So what is this? 1, -15, 1, -15. So we have to use a vertex form. What does a vertex form means? Y equals A times x minus k plus k squared plus h form. In this form, what is a vertex? Vertex is kh. Be careful that k is opposite sign of that number -k, and then that h is the same sign of this number. So vertex is 1 and -5. So this equation form supposed to be in the vertex form y equals a times, I don't know what is a yet, but x coordinate of vertex supposed to be 1, that means x minus 1 square, right? Opposite sign of x coordinate. And then -15, same sign. D is answer, right? But how can you find A? You don't have to find A, only possible answer is D. But if you want to find A, plug in any point, any number on the graph for x and y, and then find A. Don't confuse another form of that graph is what? Intercept form. Intercept form means use x-intercept, which is -3 and 5. So y equals 2 zeros of this function is -3 and 5. It has two factors, right? X plus 3 and x minus 5. It's another possible answer, but it asks you, okay, from which the coordinate of vertex A. That's why you have to choose this answer instead of that. Okay, this intercept form came from x-intercept, but vertex form came from vertex point. That's why D is this. Number 12. In the quadratic equation above, A is non-zero constant. The graph of the equation in xy plane is the problem that vertex is CD. All right, you say vertex is what? CD. Okay, and then which of the following is equal to D? D means y coordinate of vertex. This given form is intercept form. So if you draw the graph, where is x-intercept? -4 and 2. These 2 points. If A is positive, concave up. If A is negative, concave down. But that doesn't matter for this problem because we just consider the vertex. So in the intercept form, how to find the vertex? You don't have to use -b/2a. -b/2a can be used if the equation given by general form. But intercept form is given just to find the midpoint, okay, number in the middle of 2x intercept. And this is -4 and 2. The vertex exactly in the middle of these two numbers is -1. How can you find it? Add those two x-intercept and divide by 2. That is -1 is midpoint. So C is -1. X coordinates of vertex point is -1. And then D is y coordinates. Then we have to find it, right? That means what? Y value when x equals -1. That's D. So plug in -1 for x. 8 times -3. -1 plus 4, +3. So what is y coordinate? -9a. So A is the answer. Okay, next. The graph of functions f and g are shown in the xy plane above. What for which of the following values of x does fx plus gx equal to 0? Fx plus gx equal to 0. That means fx is equal to -gx. Some x values, the y value, function value supposed to be same value with a different sign. Okay, fx is -gx. Think about these 2 points. It is -2, 2. This is -2, -2. What does it mean? At x equals -2, y values same absolute value with different sign. So f of negative 2 is a negative 2 because this function fx. What about g of negative 2? It's 2. F of negative 2 is equal to negative g of 2, negative 2. You satisfy exactly this equation at x equals negative 2. That makes sense? So negative 2 is the answer. Because it asks you value of x. So at x equals negative 2, this equation is true. What are the solutions of the quadratic equation? It's a simple equation. So find the solution of this equation. Every single term has 4. Take it out 4. Common factor, right? X squared minus 2x minus 3 equal to, it's a factoring problem, right? Because this is factorable. X minus 3, x plus 1. Find 0 from each factor, which is x equals 3 or x equals negative 1. So 3, negative 1. Negative 1, 3. So B. The equation is given, looks like function is y equals x squared minus a. Which the following is equivalent form of the equation? Because x squared minus a, that's x squared minus root a squared. It's a squared minus b squared form. What is the formula to factor a squared minus b squared? A plus b, a minus b, right? So a plus b means x plus root a. A minus b means x minus root a. B. In the equation above, t is constant if equation has no real solution. What does it mean? Discriminant is less than 0. So b squared minus 4ac less than 0. No real solution. So change that to x squared minus 4x minus t equals 0, right? And then find the b squared minus 4ac. b is negative 4 squared minus 4 times a times c, which is 16 plus at. That should be less than 0. So at is less than negative 16, and then t is less than negative 2. So which number is less than negative 2? Negative 3 only. Y equals ax squared plus c is given. The vertex points of this problem is here. That is 0c because x-intercept is c. 0c. It says 0c. Which of the following is true about the problem with the equation of this? That vertex is BC, right? BC is a vertex form. Opposite sign of this number, x coordinate. Same sign of this number is y coordinate. So the graph should be a little different, right? The graph gonna be BC, not just a C. BC at B and C. It is vertex point. So vertex gonna be B, C, and then it is negative a here, right? It was a was positive. A was original leading coefficient. That was positive because the given graph was opens up, but now they ask you graph for negative a times something, leading coefficient negative now. Supposed to be opens down now. So vertex is B and C still, but the direction is opens downwards. So the vertex BC and the graph opens downwards. B is the answer. What is the sum of the solution? Is it a factored form? What is the factor? You can find that 0 from each factor. So x equals 6 and x equals negative 0.7. Sum of these two numbers is 5.3. So sum of two solutions 5.3. Scalar plot problems, right? The scalar plot below shows the amount of electric energy generated in millions of megawatt hours by nuclear sources over 10-year period. So x-axis is the years, 0 to 12, 10 years. And then y-axis the energy. Of the following equation of the best model of data in scatter plot. Basically, that scatter plot best fit line looks like quadratic function. Something like that, right? And then the y-intercepts about here. I'm not sure where it is, but which equation represents this function? Number one, a post b negative, right? It opens down. A and C cannot be answers. B or D. What is a y-intercept? Y-intercept is 700 something, positive 700 something, right? It cannot be negative. It is positive, so this is the answer. Next, the last problem today. In xy plane, the graph y equals 3x squared minus 14x intersects the graph y equals x. Intersect, that's the key point. Intersect the graph this with this. That is 0, 0, and a. Find a. So to find the intersection point of functions, just let them equal to each other. Because intersection points in points on both function graph. That's why just put these two functions equal to each other. And then solve it. Subtract x from both sides. So it will be negative 15x. The negative 14 minus x, right? Equal to 0, and then 3x is common factor of these two terms. X minus 5 equal to 0. So x equal to 0 and 5. Because y equals x, if x is 0, y is 0. If x is 5, y is 5. So 0, 0 and 5, 5. So what is a equals? A equals 5. You learned quadratic equations and functions, right? ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0 form. Okay, factoring or quadratic formula you can use to solve quadratic equation, and then quadratic formula, right? You have to memorize that formula, and then the discriminant is greater than 0 to real solution. Discriminant b squared minus 4 is equal to 0, only one solution. The b squared minus 4 is less than 0, imaginary solution. It has no real solution. Remember that, and then you have to understand what relationship they have between quadratic equation and quadratic function. Solution or roots of equations are zeros of the function, and then the zeros of functions are x-intercept of the graph. Remember that. That's one of the most important part. Okay, I'm done today. Thank you so much for watching my video, and please subscribe and like and turn on notification. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.